I'm about to tell you something most women over 40 never talk about. They don't even say it out loud, because it's embarrassing. Embarrassing to admit even to yourself, especially when there's a loving man next to you, trying, touching, hugging, and you don't enjoy it. And you can't figure out what's wrong with you. You know what touch makes a mature woman melt faster than a passionate kiss on the lips? No, not the neck, not the lower back, not even the back of the head, even though there are many nerve endings there. The elbow. Just a regular elbow. Right now you're thinking, that's crazy. The elbow? And that's okay. Because we've been taught since childhood, a man should put his arm around your waist, pull you close, hold your hip. That's romantic. That's passionate. That's a real man. And the elbow? That's for friends, colleagues, doctors. Where's the romance? But here's a fact. It turns everything around. A survey in Europe. Women from 35 to 55. What did they name as the most desirable gesture? Touching the elbow or slightly above. The forearm. 78% of respondents. Think about that. Almost 8 out of 10. Meanwhile, the waist got less than 20%. Why is that? Why does a grown, accomplished woman with a career, a marriage, kids, maybe a divorce behind her, suddenly melt when someone guides her by the elbow across the street? Let's step inside this unexpected discovery. No pop psychology, no cliches like work through your trauma or set personal boundaries. Just a real-life story, neurobiology, and that one insight that will make you see your partner's hands in a completely new way. She's walking through a mall. Crowds, everyone's rushing, music blaring from every direction. Next to her, him. The man she's been with for several years. Or maybe just a third date, doesn't matter. What matters is that at some point, he puts his hand on her waist, like he's holding her. Come here, I'm here. And she inwardly tenses up. Sound familiar? If not, just pause on this image for a second. Put yourself in her place. His palm rests just above her hip, fingers pressing into the fabric of her dress or jeans. What do you feel? Usually, it's a whole cocktail. I'm being controlled, I'm about to get groped, I'm an object he's showing off to everyone. And the worst part? You can't say it out loud. Because he's trying, he's showing affection. And really, who are you to complain about a man's attention? This is the first pain no one talks about. A woman over 40 doesn't want to be a thing anymore. She wants to be herself. Sounds bold, right? But if you dig deeper, it turns out that a touch on the waist isn't about tenderness. It's about possession. About, step aside, I'm in charge here. About, you're mine. Then, half an hour later, they're outside. Lots of cars, need to cross the street. And suddenly, he gently takes her by the elbow. Doesn't grab, doesn't squeeze, just supports with an open palm from below. And at that moment, goosebumps run all over her body. A feeling like someone flipped a switch inside. Protection, support, warmth. And none of that sticky heaviness of, I'm being pawed. Why does this happen? Why the same body, the same woman, the same hands of the same man, yet the reaction is completely opposite? Let's dive into anatomy. The elbow is an area with a lot of sensitive nerve endings. The skin is thin, close to the bone, and at the same time, there's no erotic subtext. Get it? That exact combination, pleasant but not vulgar, the brain reads as safe pleasure. When someone touches your elbow, you don't feel that anxiety. Oh, now they'll go further. Now they'll start squeezing. Now I'll feel uncomfortable. You just feel the warmth of another person. That's all. And the waist? That's a completely different story. The waist, lower back, hips, these are zones that in our culture are closely tied to reproduction and sexual evaluation. Subconsciously, a touch there is read as an assessment of fertility, suitability for procreation. And at 20, that might feel nice, yes. Hormones are raging, you want a male, let him grab. But after 40, especially after childbirth, after several hormonal shifts, that same area starts to irritate, because instinct says, I'm no longer in that cycle to be endlessly checked for fertility. I want to be respected. And this isn't a whim, it's neurobiology backed by research. For example, David Linden, a neuroscientist at Johns Hopkins University, in his book, Touch, the Science of Hand, Heart, and Mind, describes C-tactile fibers, special nerve endings that respond specifically to slow, gentle, non-sexual touch. And they are most abundant where the skin is thin and soft, on the forearm, on the inner elbow. On the waist, there are far fewer. So when a man touches a woman's elbow, he hits the button for trust, comfort, safety. And when he touches her waist, well, he hits something else. Most often, the button for tension, anticipation of something unpleasant, and the question, what do you want from me? But that's only half the story. The most interesting part is attachment psychology. Have you ever noticed how an adult guides an elderly person? How a mother holds a child's hand? That's one thing. But how an adult man supports his elderly mother by the elbow? That's completely different. He doesn't drag, doesn't yank, doesn't try to control. He simply provides support. A gesture that says, I'm here, I'm close, but you walk on your own. I'm just here to catch you. That's the balance between closeness and autonomy that becomes critically important for a woman after 40. She's already past the be my baby doll stage. She wants to be a partner, an equal, someone who is respected, not groped. And you know what's funny? Most men have no idea about this difference. They genuinely believe that putting an arm around the waist and pulling close is a sign of love. Like, I want you, so I value you. But the female brain after 40 reads it differently. Not, I'm desired, but I'm being used as an object of lust. Those are two very different things, believe me. I want you to stop for a second and remember your last conflict or awkward moment with your partner. Maybe he came up from behind, put his arms around your waist, and you flinched. Or he put his hand on your lower back in a group of friends, and you wanted to disappear. You couldn't explain why. Because he's a good guy. He's not doing anything wrong. It's not about him. It's about the language of touch. You're just speaking different dialects. He says, I love you through I grab. And you listen with ears that are tuned to they support and respect. There's a classic study on nonverbal communication by Jones and Yarbrough back in the 80s. They identified several types of touch: supportive, possessive, instrumental, and so on. And touch on the waist was overwhelmingly categorized as possessive, as in, this is mine, I'm marking you. While touch on the elbow was categorized as supportive, I'm helping you, I care for you. And here's another very honest thing. A woman after 40 usually has experience. She knows what it's like when a man snaps, when he starts to pressure, when he turns from gentle to aggressive. She carries either her own wounds or her friends' stories or just the wisdom that comes with age. And that wisdom whispers, be careful. The one who grabs triggers anxiety. Sometimes that anxiety comes from past experiences where grabbing turned into pressure. But the one who supports, he will protect you. So what do? How do we stop being annoyed at the man we love who touches us the wrong way? How do we change this ritual? For women, I have 3 phrases. Calm, no accusations. No, you always. No, this drives me crazy. First, at the moment he puts his hand on your waist, gently take his wrist, lift it slightly higher, and move his palm to your forearm or elbow, and say, I like it so much more when you hold me like this. I feel safe. It works without words. Well, with very few. Second, you're walking down the street. Pull back slightly, take his hand, and tuck it under your elbow. Like you're getting out of a taxi. Smile. You're my knight. Escort me. Sounds simple, right? Third, over dinner, when no one is in a hurry, just tell this story. Not as a complaint, but as a discovery. Hey, I read something about elbows yesterday. Guess what? For women over 40, it's the strongest zone of trust. Let's try it. I think it could be our secret code. That's it. No drama. But now, the most important part. The reason you watched this far. For the men watching, because you're here too, I know, the instruction is even simpler. Remember one thing. When you touch a woman's waist, especially if you've been together for more than a year, your signal is decoded as, I'm controlling you, whether you want it or not. But when you take her by the elbow, open palm, from below, without squeezing, you're saying, I protect you and I respect you. Try it tomorrow when you cross the street, or when you're leaving a movie theater in a crowd. Just put your hand on her elbow and look at her face. She won't say a word, but you'll see it. That slight exhale, that relaxed back. It's worth all the words. I promised you the main insight. Here it is. A woman over 40 doesn't love elbow touches because there are more nerve endings there, and not because it's trendy or healthy communication, but because it's the first touch in her life that is read not as "I want," but as "I value you." And the difference between those two words is a whole chasm. In one chasm, fear, anticipation, tension, memories of how she was once used. In the other, peace, trust, and a warm feeling that someone finally saw not her hips or breasts, but her. And here's something else important. If you recognized yourself, the one who tenses at a waist touch, who feels invisible, who is supposedly loved, but loved in the wrong way, know this: you're not too sensitive, not broken, not frigid. Your brain has simply matured to a different language, and that's normal. It's called healthy adulthood. In the comments, write just one word: elbow or waist. Which gesture feels closer to you right now? And be honest, no shame, I'll be reading. And if you're afraid your partner might get offended, send him this video. Let him watch. Maybe tonight, for the first time in years, you'll touch each other differently, and the world will shift just a little. Subscribe if you want to hear more conversations like this, because in the next video, I'll tell you why women over 40 start to hate the compliment, "You look great," and what to do about it. Spoiler, the answer isn't obvious either. See you, take care, and take care of your elbows.